Okay, so Tony, do you want to show us on the map? Okay, so Tony, do you want to show us on the map?
Well, we've come to Ulanga district.
Well, hang on, where's Dar es Salaam?
Dar es Salaam is here on the coast.
Yeah.
And we've come inland through Morogoro to Mikumi, on down to Ifakara, which is this point here.
Okay, hang on a sec, let's just...
And then we have come down along the edge of the Kilombero Valley to Lupiro and on to Nambiga Forest Reserve, where we are standing right now. With me I have some colleagues who have come from the forestry department, Mr. Nyaki, who is the forest management forester, and Mr. Musala, who is the regional catchment officer for Morogoro in the region.
And also? And
also the assistant forest guard. Perhaps you could introduce him. Miss Petra. Now, if you like, we can take a look at the teak here, which was planted about 12 years ago. It's growing very vigorously and gives an indication of the potential teak for this region of Tanzania. Certainly one, and possibly two soil pits in here. So that when my mission comes through in around about the 22nd of May, they can quickly inspect the pits and then go on to look at other sites, and we'll again try and find some other sites where we want to have pits. We'll pay, mind you, the Kali doo-doo there. We'll pay for the labour on it, so this will be part of a mission cost. But we want to have pits that they can come through, inspect, make an assessment of them, look at the vegetation, and then this will all be part of a compilation of the possible areas we can use. As we go down, we'll say, right, let's try here, let's look there, when they come in. And then when it comes to it, then within the budget we'll pay for that. I don't know, are the relations good enough here that you would be able to get, say, labour to dig the pits?
Yeah, that's no problem.
And they would be paid, say, the mission would pay them when they come. They could be paid for it.
What I can do, I think, after they have been located, because they can't wait for so long, I can pay them.
Yeah, okay. Well, see, they are coming, as I say, they should be coming through here about the 22nd of May. 22nd, 23rd of May. And what will be important, though, is that we make full use of their time, their expertise. So what I'm hoping is we'll be able to plan it in such a way and execute it that they come through, they see areas, they look at the profiles, and they're not actually having to wait, say, a day or 2 days while the work is done. And to agree on what would be a reasonable level good, what we want is a pit about at least 1.5 meters deep. 1.5 meters deep. As a sort of, if you hit bedrock, then you stop.
Hasa watu wawili, sababu ilikuwa imenani kwa siku 3.
Yeah, I would have I
Kama
would
shimo yote
prefer
ya
probably
nani ya-
4 as a thing, but if you think it's, you know, I would have thought 4-man days should be sufficient. But I think let's put it this way. Let's say that he should try very hard to get it done, the job, 4-man days. An absolute maximum must be 6, no more than that. But if he gets the 4-man days, then perhaps we can give him a bonus.
Watu wanne wachimbe shimo moja kwa siku, kwa sababu itakuwa ni shida, wao watakuwa na kesi, wachukue wawili wa shimo wachimbe. Sawa.
You're saying that's the flower up there, is it?
Yes, you have the flowers, you have an inflorescence
Yeah,
with a very large number of flowers,
yeah.
and just below we can see the fruits forming. They're young juvenile fruiting bodies which will eventually be ready and ripe by probably December this year.
And then that's actually what you would export?
We would, yes, be looking for the seed when it falls to take it and to package it. And the idea very much is then to make this into a major export crop for the forestry sector over the next 10 years.
Right. And have you got any idea how old this teak is?
Approximately 12 years of age. We haven't been able to pick up the records as yet as to its exact time of planting. I think we may find this out of the village headman or from other local sources.
Right.
But at this stage the records are not yet obtainable.
And the thickness of those stems?
Well,
Does that show good growth?
let's actually go in and we can measure them, and then we can give a fair and accurate assessment of that.
Okay.
Yeah, if you've got good thinning, you get a well-developed crown, you get very fast growth of diameter, and then if you look inside, the thing is with the competition between the trees, but then you're likely to get fewer, more, but thinner trees growing because they haven't got that opportunity to grow out a big crown and then develop a big bowl. And I think if we can just quickly, if we get the forest guard to measure this one, and then we'll measure this one, we'll go inside, and we'll look at 2 or 3 others and just measure them to just show the difference. So this presumably was planted at the same time,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, we all planted in one day.
And so, you know, if we were able to get our thinning regimes right, so that we had a very fast opening of it as the canopy grew, we would get this.
Yeah, this is an age tree, and it demonstrates a true event of if the plantation was thinned properly, then what we would expect that the number of trees would have been of this diameter. You can see this age tree is roughly 43 centimeters in, if it is in between 12 and 15 years, as we suspect the plantation age is. And also, if they were grown, had it not been an age tree, you could have developed some good form rather than the way it looks.
It's got a heavy forking and branching. And I think probably if we look at a number of them, either they've been coppice, but I think probably when they were after planting, they weren't singled, because this one here has got this double leader on it, hasn't it?
Yes.
If we go on inside, let's have a look at a few more of these trees and see that they're very much thinner. They've got a lot more competition between the trees.
Try this one.
You know, actually the form of it, they get this incredibly branching.
And the two, but there are some good.
I don't think you should really consider it as a seed stem.
No.
I doubt it. You know, it looks to me as if it's pretty. It's pretty heavily branched, And I wonder if the seed source was actually so good. Perhaps we can do, I would hope we could do much better in terms of quality for the future.
You can see this second tree here, it is rather inside from the edge, something like, say, 10 meters. And it has got a good form, although on top it is heavily branched and the diameter is 37 centimeters.
How much?
37 centimeters.
37.
Yep.
Let's take the next tree inside, you see, if we go on further inside. And that's probably closer.
It's thicker, the diameter increment decreases, and this explains exactly what the importance of thinning is. This one is 32 centimeters. You can see it is decreasing from the first tree, which is on the edge, that is 43 centimeters, to the second one, which is 37, and now we are at 32 centimeters.
You're on to what, 30?
32.
32.
Yeah.
In fact, isn't that probably a rather larger than, it's one of the more dominant trees within this group that we have inside. I think if we look around at the neighbouring trees, in fact it's rather small, it's rather bigger than any of the neighbouring trees. So it's certainly one of the more dominant trees in this stand, isn't it?
The one that we're looking at.
Yeah. So straight stem free of any serious fluting in it, and any major branching or knottiness in it. So that's a much better tree.
And the diameter is 29 centimeters. And in fact, if the plantation was maintained accordingly, and if this could have been the average diameter and height growth, then you could expect a very good crop at the final stage.
What would you guess? My guess would be that we're probably looking at trees which are 20-25 meters in height. Would you think that's a fair estimate?
Yeah, it's fair estimate.
So what's that, Mr. Nyaki? 25 meters?
This one might be, it is lying somewhere between 22 and 25.
20 and 25 meters.
Yep.
I've locked the Gary.
You have locked?
Yeah. Now, what hectarage is the teak here? The teak that's planted? Does anybody know?
I beg your pardon, what were you saying there?
How many hectares of teak have we got here?
This is 0.8 of a hectare.
0.8.
Yeah.
So very much a trial plot.
Yeah. Yes, more or less like a trial plot. And this one is 34 centimeters.
34.
Yeah.
And that's right in the middle of the stand.
Yeah.
So that's good.
That if we say, yes, probably are somewhere in between 30 to 35 or 40, that's the maximum.
Well, that would be the maximum. I would certainly plan this project on the basis that we're going to take a rotation of 30 years and to look at, the systems and management that will give us that. I don't really think we can suggest that we should take it beyond 30 years. 35 years would be an absolute maximum, mainly because if you do that, the financial return you get from your end crop actually becomes increasingly insignificant because of the costs of the capital, and if you discount that back, or the discount the returns you get from that capital, they're very, very low. So the target is, let's say 30 years. Can we grow a tree which is 45 centimeters in average diameter, the final crop here in Tanzania?
Yep.
As a general thing, and for that you can get somewhere around $800 a cubic meter.
But for pillar logs, if you are
looking for pillar logs, and of course yes, but you know, it's just going to be the straight economics of it.
Yep.
Is it worth waiting that extra 5-10 years in order to get that higher, much higher value?
Yeah.
And one would have to decide in terms of the growth, how long it was going to take you, how much that increase in value is going to be. So I think for starting, we should take our sights onto a 30-year crop, and if as we gain experience and knowledge of the quality and the value that might be obtained by keeping it for a longer period, then so be it. You could certainly extend it. You don't have to be absolutely. You don't have to be absolutely rigid. We start off with, we say, right, let's plan something which is our best possible proposal of how we think this can be undertaken and this can be achieved. And beyond that, you set out and you have to have the arguments and the facts sufficient to justify it and to persuade people to invest the money. But as you go through the project, of course, you have to be flexible.
Sure.
So that if you suddenly find that conditions change, that the Japanese or some special market will pay you 10 times as much, if only it is, say, 55 centimetres rather than 45 centimetres, then you start to say, right, let's review our plan and make a change. It's going to be worth our while to carry on. A hectare, well, we're working in a very small area, so that's, let's say, within this area it's going to be a tenth of that, or it's really 20% of that, isn't it? Because it says 1.8 hectares, isn't it? So we would try and you know, take it down pro rata, and so you're looking. We would be looking for, let's say, 36, 40 stems within this, which will be the final crop trees here, if this is that dimension in terms of acreage. And you know, you'd then be working the management of this in such a way that you always give those final crop trees the maximum benefit, in other words, freeing them from competition as they need it.
Yeah, so the fish have been developed so that some of the fungi, so the internal wood has been affected. That's why you find some of these spots. This is indicating that there's a wood rot within there.
Definitely looks like wood rot. And that white stuff.
This one?
There.
Yeah, but it is sap coming out of the stem, so there should be some...
And what are those growths on the bark? What are those growths on the bark?
That...
The bits that are growing on the bark.
This one?
Yeah.
I think this is not internal. It's something just growing on the bark.
It's some sort of a mushroom.
Mushroom, which is
growing on the bark, which is now decaying because of the raining season. It is still within the raining season, and as such, there is decomposition of the dead bacteria, and as such it is forming some sort of mushroom.
Yes, you wouldn't think that here where we've had some sort of injury, you've got a rock that's still in, and this is a sheeting body of media, the coming from the rock which is inside.
You see, this is the dead wood.
Yes.
This one was damaged during when they were doing the so the tree just slept off.
Or a branch of a tree might have fallen when the tree was fairly young, and you can see on top of this a atomic cross. The central wood is still exposed, and it is being covered with, and eventually if such a thing occurs in the plantation, and this goes over, this is a central getting if the feet are inside.
Here we are at the Tete Mission. We're asking directions for a track that we're going to be going down. and also if they have any rainfall data. It's quite a substantial place. The church is actually behind me. I think this is where all the priests have been living. Tony getting his bits of paper out. Taken from the other side. With the church in the background. Further buildings dotted all around.
Oh gosh. Very fresh.
No, this is not a reservoir. The boundary is very high.
I see.
Yeah.
Well,
This is a public area.
but this is very typical of the forest reserve.
Yes, yes. This is the typical.
Even within the forest reserve itself.
Let's see.
2,000 hectare block, which would only be about just over 10% of the forest, particularly as got around the buffer. To see if we could create
and then tuweze kuona chini.
Hata hii ndio inatupeleka kwenye edge.
Sasa hii tunapeleka bado kwenye bonde.
Ndio nakwambia.
You see the extent of the land, how big is the area.
All right, let's go up this way first. Then we'll go down this way if we have a chance.
So this one.
It's better, you think?
I think that one would take us.
That's in Vuli. Well, there's monkeys over there on the left somewhere. Here's an example of pit soaring. They've been chopping up Vuli, and you can see over here some of the results, which probably go down the path we're walking along.
For pit soaring.
For pit soaring. So this is where they actually lived here as well? They actually live here as well?
Yes, that's why they live in the forest.
Where's it coming up from?
Okay, who wants to describe what this is?
Yeah.
Go on, Mr. Nyaki.
I say if you want to to plant in Mvule,
Yeah.
Mvule can be established quite easily from root suckers. And if a root is wounded during any operation like the pit sowing,
Yeah.
usually they should come up.
Ah, like that?
Yeah.
So that's shooted?
Yes.
And that's in Vuli?
That's Mvule.
Okay, now, what's this trench here? This is a pit soaring trench, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a pit sowing trench. It was made by the people who cut this big Mvule, yeah?
So they dig it out and then they get inside and then they can saw the wood?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that log there just in front of you is Mvuli as well, isn't it?
Yeah, this is Mvule, it was leftover. And maybe they'll come down sometimes later
To
sow it.
saw it, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And eventually when a new generation of Mvule will come up, through this pattern.
Yeah. Ah.
I think maybe take a sort of drop
Okay.
line this part of it.
Okay, to give an idea. So, yeah, I think I will, okay.
Then we establish another thing. One and a half kilometers, something like that. Unasema hili nitakuja kuongeza kina kama mita moja kiasi nusu ya hii, sio load. Alafu tuendelea hivi, kama kuna shimo lingine utafika njia, utaangalia kwanza mbili hivi, alafu unakwenda kuweka.
This is the second day. Today we're on the other side of the Kilombero Basin, and we're looking at one potential site called Idete. You can see there's much less forest, it's more grassland with occasional trees, and in there somewhere is finch.
We don't have the map for this.
I think you can get a copy because somebody was surveying it.
But I think what we should do, say from the road, is to run in. Let's do it on a sort of grid. Yeah. So we'll start somewhere just inside this boundary. We'll run one line, go down, and then a kilometre further on, put another line in.
Yeah.
And a kilometre further on, another line in.
Yeah.
If this happens to hit a river, then obviously take it a bit further or a bit before. Just so that, and if we get, say, perhaps three lines or four lines in, I don't know how long this road it'll be following, but 3 or 4 lines going in, and then let's put a series of pits in. Then we'll get a very good idea of what the soil's like, and that is absolutely essential. We do know that, and we can tell whether it's, because otherwise then it is excellent. You know, if the soils are good here. We'll have to be a little bit careful on the rainfall, but I don't think there's any problem.
No, the rainfall pattern is more or less the same. CDC Pakara area, there is the same throughout. Yes, a lot of rain.
From a locational point of view, it's ideal. You know, it's good access to power.
And also the railway is there.
Yes, and the railways.
The next station.
So we clearly have to take this area really very seriously as an area to thoroughly.
Because the data station is just ahead. Some few.
Reaper station.
Right.
That is Reaper station.
Yeah.
The railway. What's it called?
Reaper station.
Oh, that's Reaper. That's
Reaper station.
just
The
a
next.
little bit ahead, is it?
Yeah.
Maybe my map does show this area because I've got Reaper.
The Reaper is there. There's a Reaper.
River.
River. Yes, there's 2 rivers, isn't there? They come together. Anyway, no, but the one of those maps, I've got the Ruipa.
Yes, there is help.
So this part of it, and then this is the road, I think. Anyway, let's go back and look at the map.
Yeah.
Again at Idete, you can see the mountains in the background which form the beginning of the Southern Highlands. And this is Idete block of land near Rupia. You can see grassland, some cashew, not much else.
Well, they'll even raise things in our parliament, you know, in questions, because we're a government body.
But when we are clearing, say, some bushes like those and some trees, and we are going to put up another crop of trees.
Well, no, I think, yes, that's right. If it's sound, sustainable, forest management is put in, and certainly in that area, I think there's a very good, if you like, argument that we would go for a better.
Rupia is down that way. Matunda Forest Reserve, a little further along the road towards Rupia. And as you can see, it's marked with a line of teak, which is now 16 years old. That's the same boundary. And that's the boundary path.
There's a lot of natural regeneration here.
Yes, I can see.
Well established, so
you'd have a very much more active management, and then perhaps we would be able to bring ODA into assisting on the escarpment and on the protection of the escarpment, you see. So that, and again, would be a plus. If it helped to encourage more money coming in to Tanzania, say, for escarpment protection, that in itself could be a further bonus that we might be able to catch. Anyway, this looks tremendous. I'd like you must get a photograph of this, because I think, as you said, it was a very good shot to be done. This is not how well teak will grow in this area. The older trees from which the regeneration has come were planted in 1974, so 16 years of age and very, very vigorous growth. I think this has got a lot of promise.
The main we have.
Yeah, they cut the main tree off, of course, haven't they? We must also measure these and just get an idea. But I think we'll try and find one which is perhaps more whole than this. We could take. This is breast height, of course, isn't it? So we could measure both these, and then we'll get an idea of just what sort of growth they got. Let's snaps of it. So big that I'm going to have problems putting it in my camera.
What, the whole tree?
Very much of this, I think.
What size is that?
It is 62.
62.
62.
And the second one behind it.
And the branch. Is 38.
38.
38.
Excellent. I must write these down now, before I forget.
There was another big.
They've obviously taken probably the best.
Yeah, it's just close to River. This area is just going this way and then it goes back into River.
Right.
It has just excluded that area.
And you say the total area of this is, if we take the forest reserve in this lowland part, is something like
Over 10,000
or more.
Well over 10,000.
Well over 10,000.
Yeah, the area which is just covered by these bushes.
10,000 hectares.
It's well over 10,000.
So the government side, their equity could come from the lease of the land. So to give a long-term lease, and that would be their equity. And then CDC would put in the money on our side for plantation development. And that could be a way to so that you have equity, and then CDC would then put in the loan finance for it, and we would take, say, let's say, at least 51% of the equity, probably, possibly much more, because as you increase it, of course, then it means it minimises the government's risk, if you like, and certainly CDC, by having a majority equity, then we're loaning money to ourselves, so we have certainly, it's we who suffer if we don't perform.
It's true.
So that would be quite probably the way we would do it, is to try and make some proposal along those lines, and have a sufficiently long lease that you could grow 2-3 rotations of teak on the area, fully develop it, put roads
Of course, if it is on the government side, it is the way it is. Because the government itself has got no release of law. And South Hill so means the areas which they had declared, I think, something like 99 years lease to
Yes, that's right. This figure has been raised and mentioned, because you see, in that way, the government landowning company, part of it, and then CDC comes in, and I think this could make what would, from our side, be certainly an acceptable way for us to try and link with government. Government then still has security on the land, and it's not carrying that risk on any loan which the company has to take during that period of development. And this area could then be, and what I would say then is that we wouldn't have so much pressure to develop that very quickly. So you'd say do 100 hectares one side of Nambiga, 100 hectares perhaps the other side, so that each year the villages have got a very constant level of work, and you've got a balanced program you're going ahead, whereas on this side we might try and take it forward if we can get the labour on a much faster program.
Of course, labour here won't be that much difficult. You can see Fakara is not very far, and there are quite a number of villages along this stretch. If you could remember, in South Hill you were looking for labour up to 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers, all along that Mufin Sako road, from Sawala down to Nyolo and back to the plantation, and it was not a problem. Could we discuss as we go?
Yep. This one, the trouble is it's so... And instead of it all being in a cash form. Let me help.
How much was that one?
62 centimetres.
What height would you say that was?
We can't tell, we've got to get back a bit and have a look at it.
You want to put the branch?
And that one's 32.
32. Oh, the problem is because of heavy branching.
Rough old bugger, that one.
Yeah,
well, it's partly why it's so fat. Because it's got this great canopy.
Yes.
Obviously.
Early flowering, or maybe not early flowering. You could see those trees there. Well, you have got that the regeneration coming.
Yes. So it's twisted, that's it. Do on my side. Right, it's straight on my side.
That is 66.
66.
66.
Right. And you reckon they're about 25 meters in height?
The top.
Yeah.
Could well be 25, 20 to 25 at this stage.
It's more like 20.
Yes, I think it may be they're only about 20. It's very hard to tell. You know, these very big crowns, and they could look a lot bigger because of the surrounding vegetation's a bit low.
And also you can have some.
Say something, mister. So that's what...
This is the fruit.
There's the fruit,
Yeah.
and there's the nut.
This is the fruit and there's the nut.
Yeah.
In fact, this is the nut.
That's the nut.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
So
this one is more pronounced. You can see the fruit is growing.
Yeah.
And down there is the nut.
Yeah.
And here you can see the flowers. I think they have been attacked by the disease.
You think they have?
Yes, yes.
Let's take a very close
It's
look
the
at that.
fungi which is attacking the nut.
Oops.
And you can see further here how
Oh,
serious is the attack.
wait. Oh, yeah.
The flowers are falling off.
Yeah, they are. So it's attacking even in this area.
Yep. And you can see the whole tree. It has got very few fruits. And
It
nuts.
has. It's got some large... It's got a large apple up here.
Yeah. Perhaps it has been the branch down a little bit.
Okay, I can... Whoop, 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 whoop. Has it fallen? It's fallen.
It has fallen.
There it is.
That's where it was.
That's where it was. And there's
Yeah.
the apple.
Yeah.
Now that apple is still very small, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about half size.
Yeah.
And the nut on that one is rather small as well, isn't it?
Yeah. You can see it has been attacked. You see?
Yeah, but that's not the powdery mildew. That's something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this disease gets everywhere in Tanzania for cattle.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go and have a look at the view. Yes, that looks quite a good specimen, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. This is the nut and this is the fruit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can make juice out of this one,
Yeah.
and then you rack it, and then you can
And then you can drink
roast
lots
it,
of...
yes, and then get the nut out, and then use
Yeah.
it for various purposes.
Well
That
done.
is what Kiswahili.
Pictures that then.
Yeah, you can see down there, just across. These are all flood areas.
This is the Kilombero Valley.
Yeah, this is the Kilombero.
And
Right.
ahead, I think that is on the horizon
Yeah.
is the Selu.
The Selu, yes. That is Selu Game
Okay.
Reserve, extending all the way that way
Right.
towards Mahenge.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now we've got some hills over there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that what are they?
And the,
Is that the Mahenge?
no, on the right side, the hills on the right side, on the horizon,
Yeah.
those are the Mahenge hills.
Oh yes, over there in the distance.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the Mahenge Hills. So that's the other side of the Kilombero Valley.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it then rises up onto a plateau.
Yep.
Okay.
Because Mahenge town is situated on the plateau.
And from here, which way is the Mahenge side of this forestry project? Way over near those hills somewhere.
That will be on further right.
Further to the right.
Yes, you can see the land is flattening down.
Yeah. Where it starts going down.
Yeah.
So it's way over there.
It goes down, that is Mupiro,
Yeah.
Timbira, and
Yeah. There look like quite a lot of coconuts and cashew trees in the valley itself.
yeah.
Now, can you see that? You can't see the hills behind, but behind us we've got the what do you call them?
The Uduzungwa.
Uduzungwa.
Uduzungwa mountains.
Right.
Yeah.
And beyond that, you then get Mafindi.
Mafindi Scarp.
You get the Mafindi Scarp.
Yeah.
And so that's in that direction.
Yeah.
But we can't see it at the moment.
At the road on the car,
Yeah.
you can see the other side.
Let's go and have a look then.
Yeah.
Mafindi side of the Kilombero, and then we're going back to our side. And
you view the Zunga Scarp on the other side.
yeah, the scarp over there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. So that gives an impression of the width of the valley.
Yeah.
Roughly how wide is it? 30 kilometers?
Maybe more.
Maybe more, I think, yeah.
Maybe more.
Yeah. Okay, good. Zunga Scarp,
Yeah. Or Ubuzungwa range.
which we
Because
drive
it is
along.
It is a range of it starting from Chidatu,
Yeah.
further south. I think it goes as far as Malini.
As Malin. But anyway, we're just outside Ifakara, aren't we, on our way back to Makumi? And that's the road. That's Tony getting some binoculars. We are about 10 kilometers out of Ifakara, heading towards Makumi. And this was Tony's idea. I'm standing on top of a water tower. As you can see, there's electricity. That's the road to Makumi, off there in the distance. And as we look out across us at the Kilombero Valley, that's the beginning of the mountains on the other side, and over there in the distance one can see the Mahenge Mountains. You can see it's very flat. It's between 200 and 300 meters in height. You can also see a large cover of cashew trees. Then we look straight down the valley westwards, and then you can start seeing the hills of the Uduzunga mountain range on the right hand side of the Kilombero Valley. And these mountains are essentially the foothills of the plateau. You can see there's some village life down here. You tend to find that the villagers live up on the higher ground near the mountains and travel down to the flatlands. And we're now looking eastwards across the valley, and that's the road to Makumi. And just to complete the circuit, that is where I'm looking forward to going back to in the summer. Now, what site shall we call that? Is that the Idati?
No, that's the
Matunda.
Mafunda Forest Reserve.
Yeah, Matunda Forest Reserve.
Matunda Forest Reserve,
Yeah. And it's just there in the middle of the picture, in the distance. And then the other site is probably not visible from here.
No, well, if you look across towards
Those mountains.
the mountains of Mahenge,
Those are the Mahenge Mountains. It's somewhere in there.
it's somewhere in there, yes.
Yeah, on the other side.
Well, it's this side of the mountains, but there's two sites we're going to be looking at. One is on this side and then the other side of Mahenge.
Yeah.
Before you come down to the Selous.
Oh, really? Which we didn't get to.
No, but they'll try and do that on the next stage. All right.
Any last words?
I don't think so at this point. We'll just look forward to hearing what the soil survey and the assessment of Peter Wood, as our teak expert, has to say on where we go from here.
Right. And our immediate steps now are to go down to the Nissen, isn't it? Down
That's
there.
right.
Fine.
And head for home.
Okay, good.
And that will be the end of his trip to Africa.